Obviously, the dating landscape these days is an absolute hellscape that no one wants to be a part of. There is rampant discussion of how awful dating apps have become and genuinely just how ineffective they are at actually matchmaking. And I think people just feel it's their only option at this point. But there is a secret third option, and it's Twitter, formerly known as Twitter. It's X. Elon Musk is now responsible for bringing together future married couples.
Okay, you're gonna have to.
And this is something people don't talk about enough. Okay. I just feel like it's kind of, everyone knows it. It's like an open secret that people are getting married from meeting on Twitter, but it's still seen as like kind of a shameful thing. But the other day, the official X account said mutuals becoming IRL friends. And I pointed out it's actually more so mutuals becoming couples and then getting married and having Twitter babies. And I know this because I have multiple friends who met their spouses on Twitter. Do you guys, or is that just me?
I don't know anybody that met their... I mean, maybe I do, and they just never told me.
Do you?
I don't know any... Like, I don't have a lot of friends that use X.
Okay.
But I do know mutuals that have met on X, and I've read a bunch of stories about it. So.
Yeah, it's a big thing. I saw some testimonials. One person said, I think Twitter is way better than dating apps for meeting a potential spouse. You get to observe their tweets, view their media, interact with them in a relaxed way, and make the move when you're ready. It's how I met my wife, and we're happily married.
It is fair to point out that most of the time, when you meet somebody on a dating app, or at least I would assume, is like you're putting up a facade of your interests and this, and that. Whereas when you interact with someone on an application where the whole point is for you to deliver, sound bites that are windows into your personality, that makes perfect sense, I guess.
Yeah, it's actually the dating app for the people who call themselves sapiosexuals. I hate that term so much.
Sapio.
Sapio? I don't know.
What does that mean?
It's people who claim to be attracted to intelligence.
Oh,
so if you're using Twitter as a dating app, it means you get to evaluate a person based on their thoughts.
So there is
not just images.
There are, I've read stories. I'm not sure if there's studies or anything, but stories about that Twitter has higher, like an average higher IQ because of the type of the way the
way you interact with it. It's
not just the way that you interact, but the if you're going to Twitter, you're not just going for pictures. You're going to read, you're going for articles, you're going for information more so than, whereas if you go to Instagram, you're going for memes, you're going for reels, you're going for things that are spoon fed to you, which is TikTok and Instagram and YouTube to some degree. Whereas on Twitter, you're actually going for articles, you're going for things that you're interested in. So there is an argument to be made that there are the average user on X has a higher IQ than the average user on other things. Also, the way that things are laid out, this is definitely better than your dating apps, because the dating apps, first of all, they're only good for guys, for a very small portion of guys. Otherwise, you have to throw, we were talking about this before. This guy that was on tour with us.
You had a guitar tech.
We had a guitar tech that
the bagel guy.
This clown actually climbed out of the back window of the bus when he quit. Like, he just split. We were fine with it, but he was a mess. But he used to do this. He would just go and swipe like this, and he would, because he was just casting his net as wide as possible, because he wasn't particularly attractive, and he wasn't going to get any kind of serious responses from anyone. And that's something that most people talk about, most guys at least talk about on Twitter. Women have an inbox full of every different kind of guy that they could possibly imagine, and men have an empty inbox. And you hear girls talk about, oh, my guy friend said that he never made blah blah blah, never connected, so I made an account for him with pictures of him, so that way I could try to help guide the stuff to make it so that way it would seem more attractive to women, because I figured he was doing something wrong. And when they're running it, they're like, this is horrifying. Yeah. How do you guys deal with this? Because women generally don't approach guys unless they're the top best looking guys that have all of the things they're looking for. Then a woman will say, well, it's worth a shot. But otherwise, they don't give average to middle of the road guys a chance at all. Whereas guys will go ahead and give any woman a chance, because you know, like I said, that guy that was our guitar tech.
Yeah.
Whatever, I don't care. Just give me a shot, you know. Whereas Twitter, you'll get to know someone from their posts. You'll get to know someone
sense
from
of humor,
how they interact with other people, and then you're like, oh, I kind of like this person. You can talk in a normal way instead of like sliding into the DMs. You can just talk to them on the timeline, and if they respond, well, I mean, it's just a much better option.
We have a couple 20s. Carnell said there's a trailer out I wanted to bring to y'all's attention. It's a doc called The Coddling of the American Mind. Film Threat covered it on their channel. It looks interesting enough that you guys would cover it on the show.
Based on the book by Jonathan Haidt?
I don't know if it's based on that or what. I haven't seen the trailer, but we'll take a look. Then. We have another from V. Wit. I have many friends back in the day that met their match in World of Warcraft. It was quite common at the peak of its popularity. Yep. You got to know them through gameplay and got a feel for how well you work as a team.
Well, all right,
yeah. It's just a different medium. And the way I feel dating apps work now is just passive, cheap consumption of people in a visual medium. And you're just swiping. It's dehumanizing just the way that it works. There is no depth to it. And that's probably why it works in such an asymmetrical way for the sexes, where most of the men are having a hard time getting any matches, and the women are, for the most part, getting flooded with matches, so they get decision anxiety.
Or they feel like they if you got an inbox full of dudes, you're like, I must be hot, and maybe it's not that you're hot, it's just that dudes are tossing themselves at your feet.
The ugly guitar tech is going like this on everybody, and you know.
Well, I mean, that is true. It's like if you're a guy that's like not getting responses, then your instinct is going to be, well, I'm going to go ahead and swipe right on more people, right? And guys are less selective than women are when it comes to giving someone a shot. You know, so it's like if you're an average woman that's not, you know, that's not grossly obese, you probably have a huge, you know, a selection.
It's crazy how low the standards are these days.
It is in the basement.
It's in the depths of hell.
Especially on stuff like that. It can't be, you know, it's got to be incredibly
It's also
low.
very, very bad for long-term relationships, because with dating apps and social media, everyone thinks that the next best thing is just right around the corner, and there's maybe you could do just a little bit better. Nobody wants to build anything. Nobody wants to find somebody, build a life with them, and do that again.
Eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. It's just nobody wants to build anything together anymore. Everybody wants to keep looking for, maybe there's just something a little bit better that I could do. I kind of attribute that to the way our culture has always been, which is never settle for less than what you think you deserve, without realizing that maybe what you deserve is to find somebody that you match with and then build something together, rather than hoping that the next person is just a little bit better than the one before.
I mean, I've said the sooner you realize you don't deserve anything, the better.
All the time.
The happier you'll be.
The less you expect from the world, the less you feel you're entitled to, the happier you will be. I cannot stress how right you are.
None of this is conducive to long-term committed relationships between people who share each other's values, and also more superficial things, but that are still important, like your sense of humor. Yeah. And Twitter is, on the other hand, a much better option.
Do you think sense of humor is superficial?
No, I'm saying it's more superficial than sharing each other's foundational beliefs.
Okay. But
it's still incredibly important.
First thing I ever sent Olivia was a meme about Stalin.
That's a real, like, sharing memes is a real, like, bonding experience where you get to like vet someone.
The very first thing I ever sent her was a meme of Joseph Stalin. Says, dark humor is like food, not everybody gets it.
Yeah.
Solid.
Yeah. That's
dating tips from Brett Dassler.
Exactly.
2024.
Get it with the memes, guys.
But there's a whole hashtag we met on Twitter, where you can see all of these countless couples saying that, you know, one of them slid into the DMs, or they were mutuals, and they got to know each other in a more organic fashion, as weird as that sounds. And it's all the same when someone reports that they met their spouse online, but there is a huge difference, I think. And that's not to say no one has found their match on Tinder. I know people who know people that got married from meeting on Tinder. It's not unheard of, but it's not ideal, to say the least.
I'm surprised about Tinder. I wouldn't be so surprised about something like Bumble or.
Well, it's just because Tinder is the most popular one, or at least it has been for a while.
I thought Tinder was like the grossest one, but
It is, I think, the grossest one if you count out like Grindr.
because like
But yeah, there are some that are perceived as more respectable, and
yeah, I thought
Like
Match.com.
Hinge.
I
I
mean, because like the thing is, I thought Match because like Match or like Hinge or like what's the other one?
OK Cupid, or
they do things like you actually have to talk about
Prompts,
yourself.
things like
and
that.
stuff, and you can actually read like.
And Tinder
words.
it's literally just like me in a bikini. Like it's just like that's not your personality. I saw a headline actually from last year saying, I was bored, frustrated, and tipsy when I posted a selfie on Twitter asking if anyone wanted to marry me. But the post led me to my soulmate, and we married exactly 3 years later.
That's sweet.
Amazing.
Isn't that nice?
Amazing.
And there are actually celebrity examples of this happening. John Mulaney and Olivia Munn met because I believe one of them slid into the DMs.
On Twitter?
On Twitter, yeah.
Wow.
Phoebe Bridgers and Paul Mescal, and Nick Jonas and Priyanka Chopra, among others.
Nice.
Okay.
So it's not just, celebrities, it's also ordinary
you're
people.
looking for the less vapid female celebrities. You look for them on Twitter rather than Instagram, maybe?
Yeah. So I think that this is a far less sexualized actually way to meet people because it's not a visual medium.
Yeah. That makes perfect sense. And almost like you get like shunned if you post too many pictures on.
Yeah, it's frowned upon,
Twitter.
at least on our corner of Twitter.
Yeah.
I don't know about the rest of it, but everyone says it's not Instagram. Go over to Instagram if you're trying to post selfies.
Yeah, you can if you're posting videos though. People don't seem to complain.
No.
Yeah.
So
It is true.
But there's just
that
more substance to it.
They're vastly different. Like, I actually think that my brain, like, you could probably run like a scan in my brain of me when I'm on Instagram as opposed to me when I'm on Twitter. Which, like I said, my Instagram is basically nothing but skating and brain rot, and Twitter is obviously a very, very different experience.
Well, say what you will about Elon, you can think that he's just another evil billionaire, but
if you think that you're stupid,
if you think that you're stupid, but also just be objective. He's actually helping people meet their soulmates.
I mean, look, the guy is doing his best to help humanity thrive. He's trying to get people together to make kids. He advocates making kids.
I have held Twitter babies. It's real.
That's great.
It's a real phenomenon.
He's trying to get people and trying to get human beings off of Earth in case something bad happens to Earth, which is possible,
He's literally having rockets be hugged as they come back into atmosphere.
That is so sick.
Yep.
I wouldn't doubt that Elon slides into DMs.
Oh,
I think that's
yeah.
how
He's
he
got
met.
12
I think
kids,
that's
of course
actually
he does.
how he met one of his baby mamas.
I'm sure that he does.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.